Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to YouTube's only anti-conspiracy conspiracy channel. The only pro-government conspiracy channel, if you will, where we talk about things that kind of sound crazy, but when you think about them, they kind of make sense of everything. That's kind of the point of this channel. Because there is no reason for any one culture on this planet to hate another culture. But there is one culture who is making every other culture hate each other so that they can gain control. And it is not our government, it is not Barack Obama and Angela Merkel and the Pope. Okay? It is a guy who today just proved me right again. But before we get into that, I want to talk about our government and Angela Merkel. See, I want to make it very clear that my judgment is not to set an example for your judgment. My judgment is so that you will know what my judgment is. Okay? What you people need to do is just be Christians like Christians are supposed to be Christians. Just be peaceful people like peaceful people are supposed to be peaceful people. Yeah. See, Angela Merkel is basically accused of committing suicide on behalf of the German people. She's got this question she was videotaped having answered, in which she gives a response that sounds kind of glum, okay? And she does sound like she's been brainwashed by liberalism, just like we've all been brainwashed by liberalism because we have, compassion. And liberalism is not a bad thing. It's pseudo-liberalism that sets no boundaries for self-defense. That's the problem. And what's funny to me is how the people who are covering this gloss over the key point that she was trying to make, was that if Christians were being real proper Christians, this wouldn't be a problem. And in two ways, she's very much right about this. Because not only retrospectively, if Christians were proper Christians, they wouldn't have succumbed to the conversions, the propagandized arguments against Christianity that have slowly led people to become lukewarm or lose their faith altogether. And then the other way is, because that provokes confidence on behalf of people who wish to wipe your religion out. Okay? But the other thing is, if, say, the migrants came and wanted to convert everyone, if the Christians were setting a better example as Christians, if the Christians were able to intellectually defend Christianity, if they were proper Christians, these migrants could come to Germany, and guess who'd be converted? Because the truth deserves your faith. The truth should be believed in, but it's not. And those who have failed the truth are going to be conquered by a lie. And I was actually surprised at the depth of wisdom she showed once pressed beyond her typical liberal apologetics. Because the point she made about Christians should have been doing better and Christians should be doing better now, maybe they'll all wake up. Oh, That's what this whole thing is about. It's about waking y'all up that this Old Testament bigoted version of Christianity is not Christianity. And I'll do a video soon on the difference between doing away with the Old Covenant and fulfilling it. Okay, it's really, it's just a matter of understanding the golden rules. What in the Old Covenant does not follow the golden rules? What in the Old Covenant does not follow the concepts of humility and forgiveness? All right. And what in the Old Covenant was obviously there, not because God was a God of love and was acting out of that motivation at the time, but at that point, God was a God of protection of the one people on the planet who knew the truth. Okay, that's what going through the wilderness was. That's why there needs to be a differentiation. Okay, because of what happened then, there needs to be a differentiation for Christianity to be Christianity, to be credible at all. Okay? Because if not, if you don't have the difference between Old Covenant and New Covenant, you don't have a Bible that says Old Testament, New Testament. This is Jewish, this is Christian. Okay, this is the history, this is the now. All right? If you didn't have that, then the argument that Muslims make, that Islamists make, that Christianity is a religion of conquest, that Christianity is a religion of genocide, if you don't make this distinction between Old and New Covenants, that argument gets credence. And you become a straw man waiting to be argued against. And you have no intellectual defense for when they come accusing you of what they themselves are guilty of. And while you've been learning all these different ways to apologize for Christianity, what you didn't learn was that there was 14 years of what started in Mecca, went to Syria, went south, went west, went east, went north, went northeast, went to Hindustan, then came to Europe, and went further into Hindustan and came further into Europe. Okay, like a consistent history of bloody conversion and conquest. They don't compare. But the idea that they've been allowed to be compared, the idea that Christians have capitulated so much, is the problem. And, I think Angela Merkel made a pretty big mistake by not preparing, and apparently her bubble didn't allow her to know that ISIS was going to send those fucking people. Okay, I'm not. I can't jump on the bandwagon of, oh, she knew and she wanted ISIS to come take over Germany. No. Okay. They have a birth rate problem. And Angela Merkel does not spend her spare time Googling YouTube conspiracy videos. Okay? She's certainly not in the bubble of these freaks on YouTube that want to make everything about Obama being Satan, and they always got to make these Photoshop fucking images of people like. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, fucking Putin's been taking over countries by leveling villages. Okay? And how many photoshopped images of him looking like a demon did they put up? Well, not that you really need to Photoshop. Okay. This is why Christ said, judge them by their works. Okay, so you go at somebody's character and you try to psychoanalyze them and you try to figure out things based on possibilities. That's called being judgmental. Hello? But when someone says, okay, we could have a ceasefire, and then sends more troops in, and then okay, we could have a ceasefire, and then sends more troops in, and coordinates excavation of cultures, coordinates deportation of Tatars in Crimea, coordinates expulsion of people who want to wave the Ukrainian flag in Ukraine, coordinates massive cross-border demonstrations from Russia into Ukraine to counter pro-Ukrainian demonstrations. And they ended violently, too. One kid got shot by the Russians just for holding up an American flag and saying Slava Ukraina. You can go find this footage. There's about 2 hours worth of uncut footage of the police trying to protect this group of Ukrainian pro-government protesters, and they are being surrounded by people throwing fucking rocks and shooting firecrackers at them, and they're just sitting there huddling together trying to fucking survive. And then the crowd just comes in on them. They get them on a bus, and then they fucking put firecrackers in the fucking bus, and the bus all gets smoked out, and fucking windows are all broken. They all got to get them off the bus, and they're all huddled next to the bus. And then groups start coming in and just fucking beating them, and then one guy comes in and fucking shoots one of them. In Ukraine, what is now known as Donbass. That'll be under Euromaidan PR. If you look to 2 years ago, should be Donetsk, anti-Maidan protest, I think. But you should really go to Euromaidan PR's website if you really to their YouTube channel, if you really want to know like what's been going on and what to expect. You should go from the beginning of their upload history and go see the millions of people gathered in Kiev at Maidan. Okay, it's a popular protest. Okay, the U.S. government cannot, like Obama didn't know how to draw this kind of crowd, and he was pretty popular. This was a big crowd. All right. So speaking of Obama, I wanted to talk about one other thing: wiretapping. Why do conspiracy people always want to talk about wiretapping? Everybody all up on Eric Snowden's nuts, just talking about, oh, you don't want the government spying on what you do. And look how they spied on these. Look, they showed in court that they spied on the Boston bombers. They had their emails and they released them. They couldn't have released those emails unless they were just spying on everyone. They must be spying on you too. Well, guess what? They could spy on me. If you're going to spy on those guys and you look in their phone, you can look in my phone. As long as you're trying to keep my phone from exploding, I have no problem with that. You can spy on them and try to keep them from blowing stuff up. If that means you got to spy on me to try to keep them from blowing stuff up, by all means. Because technically you might be keeping me from blowing up. I don't want nobody blowing shit up in my country. And, they use social media and shit. I want the NSA to monitor every fucking thing they can monitor. I want little computer programs looking for fucking code talk between terrorists. I want them monitoring Russia to make sure Russia's not planning an invasion. Okay, but these two groups of people that don't want to be monitored, the terrorists and the Russians, they're the ones who are behind these so-called news channels who complain about wiretapping. Judge them by their works. They all do the same thing. They all promote the same hatreds. They all cast the same judgments. And none of them tell you about the coordination that goes on behind the scenes, about the real evils that exist. They want to tie everything back to making you turn against your own government. Everything. They want to tie everything back to that. So, side topics out the way. The big breaking news of today: Russia sent a 3-star general to our diplomatic attaché, military attaché, to the embassy in Baghdad. And at first it was reported that he demanded that they remove their planes from Syrian airspace because Russia was about to commence airstrikes against Islamic State. It then came out that they bombed Homs, where the Free Syrian Army is, just rebels. ISIL is actually nowhere near Homs. If you're looking at it this way, okay, you got the Mediterranean coast, okay, and you got Lebanon and Syria right here, okay, and Syria goes out this way. ISIS is way out this way, way out this way. Homs is right here over near the freaking coast. And that was a horrible way to demonstrate that, but go look Fox News, CNN, everybody's covering it. Okay, Homs, and this is what I was alluding to earlier in the program. That Homs is not ISIL. Homs is civilians that are against Assad. It's a civilian opposite. This is where he's been sending barrel bombs and chemical weapons, okay, to just wipe people out. And now Russia's helping with that. That's what I was saying in the beginning of the video. I am being proven right. To nobody who knows me is surprised. The only eye rolls I ever get from my friends and family are eye rolls directed at the people who I'm warning them about. Most conspiracy channels will tell you to get mad at the people who are trying to protect you. I'm just telling you to get mad at the people who want to come kill you. But what I won't tell you is that you should try to buy guns or take up arms yourself. Okay? That's the dumbest idea anyone could possibly come up with. What you need to do is read the book of John. Learn how to talk to people. Learn what Christ actually did. Watch my videos and learn what answers can be given to those who would accuse and attack Christianity for straw man arguments. Learn how to tell people about the quacking like a duck thing, okay? If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and it says, I'm a chicken, so that's why I can hate these people. Say, no, you can't hate those people. You're not a chicken. You're a duck. You don't know anything about being chicken. You're just making shit up. Now, go to Popeyes and be of good use. No, wait. But, so, back to Syria. Iraq has made kind of ambiguous public statements while the Russians were sitting there saying, we've got this big plan, and Putin is sitting there in the UN saying, we should build an anti-Islamic State coalition, and then proceeds to basically quote everything Barack Obama's been saying for the past 2 years, at least the past year. But there's this, what the transcript referred to as the Russian intelligence cell. Okay, and it's supposed to be coordinating activities between Assad, Iraq, and Iran, right? And it's in Baghdad. And this three-star general was a part of this little attachment or whatever, a cell. A cell. Was that video a couple videos ago called what? Sleeper cell? This cell ain't asleep. This is a declared cell. Mother Russia. They want to think of themselves as one big organism. You want to see a really ugly dragon, just turn the map upside down. Anyway, so what came out after, first came out, I'm talking like the order of news releases on this. Okay, watching how stuff gets released in real time during the day when most people at work will really tell you a lot about what's really going on. Okay, before they get their fucking story straight, you know. Well, first thing they report is that the Russian general demanded we withdraw our fighters and evacuate our people if we have anybody. Okay. Then it comes out, you're bombing Homs. There's no Islamic State in fucking Homs. So once again, basically Putin gets called on his bullshit again. Okay. And the reason why I say again, most people don't understand, is that this has been going on away from most people's attention for 2 years straight now. Okay. Well, after he gets called on the bullshit by, CNN, I then see an upload. Somebody copied a Fox News coverage of. Well, we got the transcripts, and it looks like he actually used the word please, and he requested that we withdraw our airplanes and any troops we had on the ground. So they didn't demand it. They asked. They were asking us nicely to get the hell out of Syria, where we've been operating for a year now, with 60 other countries, I think it is. Yeah, he's talking about starting a coalition. We've got 60 countries signed up. And the day after Putin's little, we should build a coalition thing, after sitting there trying to say that the United States was the one supplying Islamic State, okay, trying to accuse the United States of being behind terror and of trying to control the world, all right. The United States, the following day, Barack Obama headed a meeting about how to fight terrorism, in which it was, discussed that we've taken back a third of the territory that Islamic State's gotten already. And what's funny to me is that there's a lot of different speeches made that did not want to bring up Russia or Syria at all, and kind of spoke really generally about Islamic State. And what one could take from this is that they know that it's not Iran that's a problem. I mean, Iran has a political party that's been in power for a while. That political party was supported by Russia and acts as a proxy for Russia. Okay, but it seems to me like they're referring to the security threats as a whole and lumping Russia in with ISIL when they're talking about ISIL. Okay. And when they list countries that they need to work with to stop ISIL, mention Russia. When they mention countries that ISIL comes from, Russia's always in the list. Now we have 200 and something. Supposedly we're 200 people have been known to attempt to or to join ISIL from the United States. Okay. 80 of those people are in jail. All right. Now, I showed you video, or I showed you my photos of a video that you can find on the News from Ukraine YouTube channel. That clearly shows in the time frame of the major ISIL advances, and that was filmed before it was released. Okay. That there were a couple of tens of thousands of Chechen fighters. I mean, you can't really tell what kind of troops they are, but they're all in uniform and they all look Russian equipped. Okay. And there's been this blanket history of the past few years of Russia sending troops and saying, oh, they're not our troops. All right? This has been going on for fucking years now. Then after these guys get all ready to muster, there's no massive manpower increase on the ground in Ukraine. They didn't go there. There were tanks and Grad missile launchers that got deployed into Ukraine after that. Okay. And yeah, the shit continued to get worse. It had already been getting worse for quite some time in Ukraine. But what you did have was several months worth of making Obama look bad and nobody talking about Ukraine. And that was the objective of those troops. All right. To get us out of Iraq and Syria, to get Russian presence back in Iraq and Syria. Of course, they got to build their base in Benghazi. Nobody seems to know about that. So yeah, Russian warplanes have, as I've been predicting, bombed the rebels, not ISIL. ISIL's nowhere to be found. There's, the little local police in the Sharia zones that they set up. But there's no advancing ISIL army right now. There's just Russia bombing civilians. Again. Congratulations, fake news channels. Oh. Pray for our boys out there. I mean, there's going to be some pissing contests in the skies. Russia's flying fighter planes around and they don't want us around. This could get ugly. Pray that everybody stays safe. Everything holds together just a while longer. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe. I'll probably be gathering more news. I'm expecting that's not the end of the day's events. But yeah. Have a good day.